Hey team, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk Fitness, the podcast where we cut through the noise, dive deep into the real work, and help you become the strongest, healthiest, and most grounded version of yourself. In today's episode, we're going to touch base on our ego, something that every single one of us deals with. Now, before you think this is about being cocky or full of yourself, it's not that type of ego. I'm talking about the quiet little voice that gets defensive, takes things personally, avoids hard conversations, and keeps you stuck in old patterns. And if you ever wondered, why do I keep reacting like this episode is really going to hit home for you. So let's break it down in a way that's simple, human, and actually helpful. Because once you understand your ego, you can finally stop letting it ruin or run your life. So let's dive in. What actually is your ego? Simple definition, your ego is your protector. It's built from old experiences, fears, or beliefs, often stuff from our childhood. It's reactive, it's emotional, it can get defensive. Not bad. You just need to look at it as outdated software. You probably can relate to some of these, feeling attacked when someone gives you feedback, taking things personally, avoiding uncomfortable conversations, the need to be right, struggling to admit when you're wrong, or feeling awkward, judged, or not good enough. Personal level, I 100% can relate to the last one. Feeling judged or not good enough, taking things personally, and I'm sure you guys can relate to some of those as well. So your ego isn't wrong, it's just scared. Its job is to protect us. Alright, so let's talk about moments where your ego completely hijacks the wheel, because these are signs that most of us miss. And if you recognize yourself in any of these, welcome to being a human. Defensiveness, this one is really classic. Someone gives you feedback and instantly you feel your body tense, you get hot, you're already forming your comeback before they've even finished their sentence. So you're listening to them with the intent to respond, not listening to the intent to understand what they're saying. You might say things like, yeah, but I only did that because, yeah, that's not what happened. I'm not like that. And let's use an example. Say a friend says, hey, you seemed a bit short with me yesterday. Everything okay? And instead of saying, sorry, I was stressed, you snap back with, well, you said something rude first. You're probably thinking, what? Why? Because the ego hates feeling wrong. It hates feeling exposed. So it defends. And even when there's nothing to defend. Another one is overreacting. So this is when your reaction does not match the situation. Like someone forgets to text you back and suddenly you're spiraling into the thoughts of they're ignoring me. They're annoyed at me. I must have done something wrong. Or someone makes a harmless comment and you feel instantly attacked. A tiny little spark can become a bushfire in our mind when we're not aware that this ego that I talk about is our inner child. It's who we have, become from our life experiences, from what we've learned from our parents, but it's not really us. And it's outdated software. So that tiny spark can become a bushfire, and it's not because of what happened, but it's because that inner child or the person that you think you are your body's interpreted it as a threat. Avoiding vulnerability. This is the ego's favorite hobby. It's that voice that says, don't tell them how you feel. Don't ask that question, it might upset them. Don't show you struggling, they'll judge you. Maybe even you've been hurt before. Maybe someone made you feel silly for opening up. And so now your ego just shuts down to keep you safe. But here's the thing, right? Avoiding vulnerability feels safe in the moment, but lonely in the long run, because you're not authentically being you. The need for control, your ego or that inner child is running things, control can become like a coping mechanism. You might micromanage conversations, overthink every possible outcome, worry about what people will think, play scenarios in your head, get frustrated when things don't go your way or the way that you think they should. I'll share a little example. So say you organise something with your friends, one person's running 10 minutes late, a normal reaction, all good. That ego reaction is, this always happens. Why does no one respect my time? Maybe they don't even care. It's not even about the 10 minutes. It's about that ego feeling unsafe without being in control. Or another one is taking things personally. This one's a bigger sign that your ego is driving this bus that you call life. Someone didn't smile at you, they must be mad. Someone cancelled plans, they don't want to see me. Someone corrected a mistake you made, wow, they must think I'm really stupid. The ego always assumes the worst because the ego sees everything as a reflection of you. But let's flip this. 90% of the time, it's not even about you. People are tired. People are stressed. People are distracted. People have their own shit going on. But that ego, that inner child, likes to create a story to fill those gaps, to make sense of it, to make a story. And these stories that we make up are things in the future. They haven't even happened. They're all just happening within your own mind. You're probably thinking, how does this ego hold me back? Now here's a really important thing. This ego or this inner child or these inner beliefs, however you want to word that for you to understand, it isn't trying to ruin your life. Its job is to protect us and to keep us safe. But the way it protects you, it actually blocks your growth. Your ego says, stay the same, stay safe, stay comfortable. Then the other part, that conscious brain, is that growth. It says, be honest, be open, be uncomfortable, be accountable. But these two things cannot exist together. So this ego, old beliefs and values stop you from having difficult conversations, can keep you stuck in old patterns, makes you hold on to old identities of who you think you are, keeps you replaying past hurts. How many times has something happened and you feel that you just can't let it go? And this is that ego trying to keep itself safe, trying to make logic of a situation, rather than just seeing it for what it is. It's not a reflection of you. It's just identified a hurt in you. Stops you from trying new things. It stops you from being wrong. Now, in life, realistically, two people can be right at once. So what I believe and what you believe are both correct, because they're our beliefs. Most arguments start with one person trying to project their beliefs onto another person. And these usually spark that person's ego, that vulnerability, that feeling of not feeling safe or feeling exposed. And then the other person will fight back because they feel the same way, when realistically, everybody has different values. Everybody has different inner child. Everybody's ego is slightly different. And this ego that we talk about is trying to protect that version of you that existed years ago. But you're not that version anymore. Your ego is like an overprotective friend. They mean well, but constantly holding you back from the life you're meant to live. It's that friend who says, don't try that, you might fail. Don't tell them you're hurt. Don't ask that question. Don't go to the gym, you might look silly. Don't try something new, you're not ready. The intentions are loving to keep us safe, but the result? You stay stuck, small, and disconnected. And I guess that leads me to kind of speaking about how the fuck do we outgrow this? Outgrowing our ego isn't about being perfect. It's just about becoming aware. So let's keep this super simple. I'll share a personal story with you, is that over the last 12 months, I've realized that an abandonment issue that I have from my ego of not feeling enough is triggered every time a member might leave AMPT. So those that are listening, AMPT is my small PT studio and group fitness classes. So when someone would leave, even though it's got nothing to do with me or what I've done or what I have not done, my ego wants to keep me safe. So therefore I feel like I'm not enough, or I didn't do anything. And it triggers that abandonment of my value. Whereas when I let go of that, it no longer affects me, right? Because I am not that. I am enough and I am safe. And this has nothing to do with me personally. So you need to notice it. The moment you feel yourself triggered, defensive, shutting down, spiraling, overthinking, you need to ask, why am I triggered right now? Has all these thoughts actually happened? Or is this just my ego trying to create like somewhat movies, right, of what's going to happen in the future? It hasn't even happened yet. And there's this saying like, where your energy goes, your focus flows. Or where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if we're focusing on all these things that haven't even happened, where do you think our energy's heading? And this is all our ego to try and keep us safe. So just creating that awareness can create that space. Pause for a second. And, we can always create new cycles. You're never stuck. You're only stuck if you think you are. So take a breath. Don't reply straight away. Don't storm off. Don't shoot a message you regret. Give your nervous system time to settle. Because once you create awareness, you start to realize, is this my ego reacting? Let your higher self respond. Let your true, authentic self respond. Get curious, ask yourself questions. What belief is this hitting? Just like I did over the last 12 months of my own self-development journey. Where I started asking myself, why do I get so upset? This has nothing to do with me. People's lives change. People come and go. That's got nothing to do with me. I've done the best that I can. And that is enough. So you need to ask yourself, why am I scared what people will think? What am I trying to protect? Is this the old me? The stories that I'd tell myself to keep myself safe and stuck and small, really? And when you get curious, you stop taking the ego's reaction as your truth. You start responding intentionally. So here's the really empowering part, right? You get to choose whether you respond or react. Most of the time when we react, we're reacting from fear. And a response is acting from courage. So you start to choose clarity over chaos, calm over being defensiveness, connection over avoidance, truth over assumptions. So that's where these stories that we create that haven't even happened yet, we start to go, what, has that even happened? Well, why am I thinking about that? Let it go. Growth over old patterns. So you start evolving, you start changing, you start growing. You don't need to get rid of the ego. You just grow beyond what it's trying to protect. So let's take a moment to do some real talk. Let's talk about a defensive moment. Talk about a time someone gave you feedback, maybe business, relationships, social media, and your first reaction was to snap back. Then later you kind of realize that wasn't me. That was my ego feeling exposed. I felt attacked. I didn't listen or read with any intent. I just responded because I felt exposed. Or a moment where old patterns might show up. Maybe something small triggered a huge emotional reaction. Pause and catch it and be, how could I have chose a calmer response? Maybe a moment that you felt that changed everything. A time when you didn't react. You just took a breath, you communicated calmly, and it completely shifted the outcome. That is the part that brings deep connection and trust. And you know what's so empowering is that when your ego or inner self or old beliefs are no longer controlling you, life can feel like you stop taking things personally. Conversations just feel lighter because it is exactly what it is in the present moment. You stop assuming the worst because that hasn't even happened yet. You don't spiral over messages, comments, or tone of things. You don't feel the need to defend everything because you no longer need to hold on to those egos or those beliefs. You communicate without fear. You listen instead of preparing to respond. You feel more grounded, and you completely show up as the real you, not the protected you. When this all makes sense, you may have to listen to this podcast a few times, is that you start to realize not everything needs a reaction. Not everyone in this life is judging you. Not every comment someone makes is an attack. Not every situation is about you. You don't need to always win the argument. You don't need to be perfect. And you don't need to control everything. Your life will become calmer. Relationships that you do have will be deepened. Your self-worth grows. You feel lighter. And the world stops feeling like a battlefield. Because your ego is no longer scanning for any danger to keep us safe. It's absolutely mind-blowing when you go into this, because so many situations in my life, especially this last 12 months, I look back at and I think, you know what, that feeling that I had was nothing to do with the situation. That was my inner self trying to keep me safe. And at the same time as you're trying to keep me safe, it was always keeping me stuck. So I hope that's helped. I really hope it gave you a moment to breathe, reflect and go, okay, this is where my ego has been taking the wheel. And if there's one thing that I want you to take away, your growth starts with your awareness. And the more that you notice these patterns, the more you get to choose who you become in this moment, not how your ego has always been. And don't forget, if this episode hits home, share it with a mate who needs to hear it. You can tag me in it, send me a message, and keep the conversation going. I love hearing how this resonates with you and what you got out of it. So until next time, guys, keep showing up, keep growing, and keep becoming the version of you that your ego has been trying to protect all these years. You've got this.